Hey guys, I'm doing a Super Smash Bros. Journey, and on this episode we're going over Super Mario Bros. 2. And just before we get started, I would like to let everyone know that I understand this is a reskin of Doki Doki Panic, but I will still treat this as a sequel to Super Mario Bros. 1. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. On booting up the game, we find the title screen with a song this time, and I think the song really gives this game a feeling of whimsy that proceeds throughout the entire game, and it even gives you a little story afterward. Now what I find odd is that this game tells you that it's a dream, and then he wakes up, finds a door, and finds a world that's just like his dream, just for the end of the game to tell you that it was just a dream. It just feels a little counterintuitive at the end. Once you hit start, you get introduced to the 4 playable characters in this game, and I always love whenever you get to play as different characters. First you got Mario, who's kind of just average at everything, so he's a pretty solid pick all around. You got Luigi, who can jump super high. You got Toad, who jumps lower, but he moves pretty fast. And then you got Princess Toadstool, who can hover, but she doesn't jump as high and she doesn't run as fast, and she takes a while to pick up items. But that hover is amazing. I hit A on Mario, and I start the game. Immediately, you just fall out of a door, which was explained in the story, which is pretty fun. And then you fall and fall and fall, which, knowing that this game is a dream, I think it just represents that Mario is falling into a deeper and deeper sleep. So the way the characters feel in this game is actually pretty good. Well, pretty much depending on the character that you play as. So Mario, for instance, he's pretty easy to play, a little heavy when it comes to the jumping, but you have a lot more control in midair, which is nice. But if you play someone like Luigi, he's a little more slippery because he jumps high, which is really helpful during a vertical stage, but it never really feels comfortable when trying to platform across a long level. But Toad, he kills me, because due to his low jump, you gotta hold the charge jump in order to get anywhere, which is just when you hold down for a while and then you get a big jump afterward. After all of this, later on in the game, I just ended up picking Princess Toadstool because that hover ability really saves me. I gotta talk about how you handle enemies in this game. So to take care of them, you gotta pick one up and throw them at each other to take them down, or you can just pick up a vegetable and throw it at them to make it easier. For a new Mario game, it is funny that they have yet another way to handle the enemies, which it is a bit of a hassle in this game, and also if you have just one enemy, you can't really take care of them. They just kind of hang out with you. So there's certain times in the game where I really want to kill an enemy, but they get to hang around because I can only throw them at a wall and it doesn't do anything to them. The next mechanic I want to talk about is the potion that you pull out from the ground in order to throw it on the floor and enter this completely dark room called Subspace. And saying all that out loud really makes this game sound like a dream. So I really like this mechanic because it's the only way to get mushrooms, and it's also how you get coins to play the roulette at the end of the level. And while sometimes the potion isn't placed in a spot where it's easy to find those items, that's where repeat playthroughs really come in, so it really rewards you for remembering where to put down the potion. Or even thinking outside the box in some levels where you need to maybe blow down a wall and then throw down the potion, or even go back to the left of the level just to find a good spot to drop the potion. And once you find all the right spots, that really does become a game changer. Would you look at that? A cherry. These things threw me for a loop. I had no idea what they did for like the first couple levels of playing this game. It got to the point where I was like, hey, there was a star and inside of a cherry room, and I went, that has no correlation, and then eventually it made sense. I was like, oh, collect enough cherries, make a star appear. Since you almost have control in the way you make a star appear by choosing which cherry to pick up last, sometimes it could be very helpful, and other times you just grab it and then run across an empty room and then it's over. But other than that, this star works just like it did in the previous game. Eventually, I noticed that there were hearts that were coming out from the floor and floating up to the sky, which confused me at first, but then eventually I realized if you beat enough enemies, a heart appears, which honestly is a pretty cool mechanic for this game. Almost every time when I took a hit and I needed a refill on life, I became a bloodthirsty monster who started looking for enemies to defeat. So I think it's pretty cool that this game is laid out in a much more complicated manner compared to Super Mario Bros. 1. Like here, for instance, where you find a door that leads you to a cave, you climb up a vine to the next floor, and then when you leave the cave, now you're on the next floor on the hill that you just entered. Little bits of world continuity always makes me happy in these kind of games. Someone I glossed over while talking about this was this little guy named Ninji. He's amazing. Just look at him. And speaking of enemies, actually, there are a lot of enemies in this game that started off here and continue to exist in later games. Some notable enemies are like the Pidgeot, the Shy Guys obviously, and Birdo. So this game really brought a lot to the table. And here we have our first vertical climbing zone. There's quite a few of these in this game, and honestly I'm not too much of a fan. I just find the whole thing to be a little awkward really. And once we get to the top, we find Birdo. in their natural habitat on top of blocks, I guess. So can I just say that this game has way too many birdos. There's a green, there's a red, there's a pink, there's a gray, and almost every world has like 2 you gotta fight, and not to mention the last level where they put you against 2. Like, what is that about? Really, I got ahead of myself, so back to the fight. In all seriousness, this fight isn't bad, it's just way overdone. And honestly, it's kind of fun the first few times. You just gotta land on the egg and throw it back. If anything, this fight really keeps you on your toes, and there isn't really a dull moment, especially when facing against the later ones. Alright, we pick up the ball that Birdo drops to open the mouth of the bird, and then you enter the bird's mouth to get to the next level, and what the heck am I even talking about? Again, this game is just such a dream. But hey, look, slot machines. My next mortal enemy of this game. I feel like I never really win, which, I mean, hey, it's just like the real casino. Maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know. Well, one time I did get a lot of lives from it, so I guess I can't be too mad. Onward to level 2. This level really shows that this game tries to create a lot of interesting situations with the mechanics that you've already interacted with. So for this one, there's a Pidgeot on a carpet, and you gotta jump high enough to pull the Pidgeot off the carpet and pull some real GTA stuff where you gotta take his ride and use it to fly across the open gap. And there's like creativity like this all around the game. Hey, look, let's enter that vase. Here we find a key with the mask guy. Now this is some real nightmare fuel where this guy will just come at you immediately as soon as you pick up that key and chase you relentlessly until you put that key into the door. It is honestly a very annoying mechanic, but I will have to admit that it does make some areas very thrilling. He was the cause of many of my deaths. Now here in this cave you'll find a wall that needs to be blown up with bombs that you find underground, which is a very common mechanic you have to deal with, especially with sometimes when you gotta pick up a bomb, hold it above your head, throw it at the right time to hit a wall. That's more common than I thought. Some real Zelda type shit. And the next boss is very interesting. It's another Birdo. Well, on to 1-3. This level is interesting because it has a warp pipe in it, and I never knew this existed in this game ever. But really, the meat and bones of this level is entering this tower that you have to climb to the top, get the key, and then climb all the way to the bottom to drop off the key, which is where the key delivery part of this game feels a lot more thrilling. But, you know, when it keeps killing you from learning how to get down fast enough, it can get a little frustrating. And now we enter the world boss's room, which is Mouser. This cute, actually cool, cute little guy who throws bombs, and we take care of him by throwing those bombs back. Easy boss, all things considered. World 2 is a desert, and it's one of my lesser favorite parts of the game because there's these spots where you gotta dig by hitting the B button, and you gotta hit it over and over and over again. It just gets very repetitive. And hey Birdo, bye Birdo. Something else with these levels is there's a specific hole that you gotta dig, and you can dig into the wrong hole just so you have to climb out of it to dig the hole in the right spot. It's honestly very mean. And really, this is where Shy Guys shine, because they have this weird AI where whenever they fall down from a ledge, they will walk in the direction that you are in. So whenever they fall down to you, they just start moving towards you, and it can get very dangerous very quick. It really feels like they're chasing you. And then, oh wow, another Birdo, but this one's red. So this guy can shoot eggs or fireballs. So there's that, I guess. Moving on to the World 2 boss is this snaky Hydra thing that shoots fireballs. I think he looks very cool design-wise, and all you gotta do is throw blocks at him. Another easy fight. Next world, number 3. This one has a waterfall as the backdrop as you climb all the way to the top into the clouds, and I think that's very cool. But also what's very cool is there's a secret with this level that I accidentally found where you just jump down the waterfall and make it to the very bottom, and you find a door that gives you a lot of coins. It's super awesome. Climbing up the waterfall requires you to take another carpet from a Pidgeot, so once again, stealing some vehicles. Red Birdo alert. Long time no see. 3-2 is honestly very sick. You start the level on the screen that already has the door to the end, but in order to get there you kind of have to make like a giant U-turn around the whole level where you climb over the whole top to enter the underground area, and then on the overground, underground, overground until you get to the door. And I think that's a very fun design. Hey Birdo, what ya doing here? Well, personally, this Birdo was very funny. After I beat him, there were some mushroom blocks at the end of it, and I really wanted to see like how the throwing mechanics work in this game, because sometimes I feel like I didn't throw it far enough, sometimes I felt like I threw it too far, so I started throwing around, messing around a lot, and when I went to go pick up the mushroom block that I threw far away, I would pick it up and walk back over, and then suddenly there was another Birdo that respawned. So I always thought because it was like a boss, it wouldn't respawn. Here they were, just standing right in front of me, scaring the heck out of me. Next up, 3-3 is the level that was my wall. I spent so much time trying to beat this level, and whenever you lose all your lives, you have to restart from 3-1 all over again and make your way all the way back over here just to lose again, and then eventually you run out of continues and you have to restart the game. So this was really the point of the game where I just had to get good. I just had to overcome it. And after many hours, I started earning a lot more lives. I started beating these levels faster and faster to get to the 3-3. And also around this time is when I kind of locked in Princess as the main character I was playing as, because the hover ability really saves me and lets me preserve the amount of lives I had. Finally, I made it to the last boss of World 3, which was Mauser again, but with a green color, and had a little sparky guy that was flying around the room. He still went down pretty easy. Next world is the Ice World. These levels have the ice floors, which gives you those ice physics that make you slippery on it, which is in like most games that are platformers. And god, can I just say I honestly don't really like when games do this thing. And also there's these little enemies that run at you at full speed. They're quite dangerous. And at the end of the level you find a rocket ship that was hidden in the grass. Again, it's all just a dream, but really the princess's floating ability really helps with the ice physics since you don't have to interact with the floor as much. Here in 4-2 we find a dodgeball room is what I like to call it, because there's a lot of little spear flying guys that come at you at different heights, so you just gotta do your best to dodge them. And hey, get a load of these silly whales that have water that hurts you when you touch them from anywhere but the top. Which, embarrassingly, I took a lot of damage with these guys. I would think that this would be easier to dodge. Hello, Birdo in a cold room. Now, 4-3 is another grueling level, but this level, funnily enough, starts with a Birdo. Like, what the heck? But this one's actually more of a puzzle. So there's a giant gap between you and the rest of the level. You gotta have Birdo shoot an egg towards it, and you gotta jump on it and ride it over. Again, dream shit. But after that, you gotta climb a giant icy tower while you got fast little guys raining down on you, just for the second half of the level to have a key that you need to get and bring it to the bottom of the level. This was another wall for me. The light at the end of the tunnel was the World 4 boss, which was a big fireball that spits fire. His flight pattern is what made him very unique, and you had to throw mushroom blocks at him, so it was really nice seeing something completely unique. World 5 is the night levels. This is kind of where the game gets really wacky challenges, like using fish as platforms, and at the end of the level we find another Birdo, but this one's gray. All he does is shoot fireballs and that's it, no more eggs. You just gotta throw blocks on him. Now, I didn't mention this yet, but playing as the princess character, her pickup speed is really slow, so honestly when dealing with Birdos and trying to pick up eggs or the mushroom blocks, it takes such a long time that you really gotta like pick these up at the most opportune time. Now, if you liked stepping on fishes like platforms, get ready for stepping on bugs that climb on trees as platforms. Again, this whole world feels a little more wacky. This is also where you find Sonic, like literally Blue Hedgehog. And then another mean room. A room where you just fall down to a bed of spikes, but you gotta dodge those spikes into these small platforms where if you miss it, you'll fall to your death. It's very mean. 5-3 is the bomb world, where bombs rain from the sky, bombs come out from below when you pull them out, bombs walk towards you. It's just so many bombs, but that's not the end of it. You enter a door to a tree, and now you're inside this cramped tree with like infinite enemies spawning, and you gotta get to the top of the tree. This level killed me a lot of times, so many times in fact, that I regret to inform everybody, but this is the point of the game where I did have to resort to save states. Now, the way I do save states, just to keep some level of integrity with the game, is to save state the start of the level to make sure that I can beat the whole level in one run, but I did have to use some. Going forward, I will always let you guys know if I use save states to beat a video game, as I am a little disappointed that I couldn't beat it without it. Now, with that out of the way, we find our next boss, a Birdo. And I'm sorry if this bit has gotten old, but honestly, fighting this many Birdos has gotten old. So if Ninja won my favorite enemy award, this boss right here wins my favorite boss award. He's just an angry crab that shoots 3-pointers from across the stage and also sometimes throws rocks at you. So you gotta pick up these rocks, throw it back at him. I don't know, I think he's kind of funny. World 6 is another desert, again, oh boy. But this time the quicksand, I think in this level, pulls you down much faster than the other ones. Like, you get stuck here. Another reason why I started playing Princess a lot more. But some part I gotta really talk about that I didn't like was this room with a bunch of vases that all lead into different rooms. And only one room has the key with the mask in it. Granted, on repeat playthroughs, you will be able to find out which one has the key pretty easily, but on a first time playthrough, it's really not fun. And a green birdo at the end. Well, I think this guy's just kind of the gray birdo, but green. Yay. 6-2 is another level where they try their best to come up with a fun way to get across the level. In this one, you gotta ride these birds all the way to the end. Other than that, it's pretty short. And another green birdo. And I always like this part because we find an evil cave with a face on it. It's like the ultimate bomb test room because there's so many walls that need to be blown up by bombs. And at the end we find another birdo. The World 6 boss is another Hydra, but a little tougher. Still cool though, I love seeing him. Now World 7, the Sky World. With only 2 levels, what the... I guess we're almost done. 7-1 tests out a lot of skills that you got over the game, like riding those birds like you did in that previous level, and also dispatching a lot of enemies in a tight area, and also building these blocks high enough to get to the next area, and even some vine challenges too, where you gotta climb high and jump from vine to vine. But as in a very classic fashion, at the end of the level, you fight another birdo. Now, anyone who's played this game before, 7-2 is most likely the moment you've been waiting for. This is a true castle level with multiple paths, lots of enemies, treadmill platforms that push you, and honestly, worst of all, there are 2 birdos you gotta fight, one with a key in his belly. This level is super long, there's a lot of tight movement, a lot of picking up blocks, avoiding enemies. There are many opportunities to lose lives here, and if I wasn't safe stating, many game overs would have happened and I would have had to return to the very beginning of the game. So once you take that key from that one birdo, you have to then take this to the door. And this is where the game once again surprises me. So you find the bird head with the ball as per usual, you pick up the ball and you try to walk into the bird's mouth, as I have been doing this whole game. And then I take damage and I'm like, what is happening? Why am I taking damage? I need to get to the next level. What? And then the bird comes to life and starts tackling me, in which you gotta throw the blocks at him for 3 life just to take him down. Then randomly in the middle of where you killed him, he opens his mouth and then you enter. Almost as if this bird was working for Wart the whole time. Or it's a trap that Wart set because he knew we were coming. I don't know. This game's just a dream anyway. So instead of a World 8, which I'm kind of surprised there's not one. I mean, this game is long enough though, maybe it didn't need one, really. You find Wart, the final boss of the game, this froggy guy who just shoots a bunch of bubbles at you, so avoid that. And then I gotta pick up the vegetables and feed him because this guy hates his vegetables. Again, this is such a dream kind of conversation. Feed him enough vegetables because he hates eating them, I guess, and he falls or dies. I don't know. You save a bunch of little guys that come out of captivity, and then you find out it was all Mario's dream. Big old plot twist. Which is why I thought it was weird that the beginning of the game told you it wasn't a dream, just for it to be a dream. But God, I gotta admire this sprite work of Mario sleeping. It's just so well done. It honestly makes me feel sleepy just watching him. Then we see the names of all the enemies and the end. And that's it. That was my journey through Super Mario Bros. 2. Most likely the dreamiest game. I think overall this game was not one of my favorites. I think there's way too many parts of this game that I disliked. There's a very heavy difficulty spike throughout the game. But, I mean, to give credit where it's due, I like to appreciate video games where I can. This game has a lot of amazing enemies, and it brought a lot to the table. Its multiple character system is also very cool. I always love to see stuff like that. And the way the game likes to challenge you with like mechanics that you've already seen before, but in a new way. And comparing the length of this audio clip I'm currently recording, I had a lot more to say about this game, which, you know, in all fairness, I think means there is a lot more going on in this game. A lot more interesting levels, a lot more interesting bosses, and a lot more interesting gimmicks. So now I'm going to rank this game compared to the other 2 games that I've already played, and I'm going to put it here. Unfortunately, under Super Mario Bros. I just found too much of this game frustrating, but overall, I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I think I'm enjoying it the more and more I play, but I gotta get on to the next game, so I'm gonna leave it here for now. Sorry to any Super Mario Bros. 2 super fans. I hope this wasn't too much of a controversial take. It's only my third video. I really hope it's not. But hey, go to the comments and let me know what you guys think about it, and you know, tell me how you think it's the best game ever made. Or better yet, maybe give me your 1, 2, and 3 out of these 3 games that I've went over in this channel. And here is the list of retro achievements I achieved along the way. Again, some of them were not hardcore due to the safe stating. Well, with that, please hit subscribe if you liked the video. The next game on the list is going to be Super Mario Land, oddly enough, because that is the next game in release order. So bear with me as I go and play that game. Wow, this video is pretty long. I hope I can keep this pace up. I will see all of you in the next one. See ya.